All right, so in part one we looked at Marduk, all right, the chief the chief god of the Babylonian or the Sumerian pantheon, and its relationship to Bel and the dragon in the book of Bel and the Dragon. And then we looked at Enlil, also known as the raging bull or wild bull, and how it connects to the charging bull that's at the New York City, that's near the New York City Stock Exchange. All right. So now we're gonna look at the god Inna. All right. Now we're gonna look at the at the god Inna. It says Inna is an ancient Mesopotamian god of love, war, and fertility. She's associated with beauty, sex, divine law, and political power. She was originally worshipped in the ancient Arata civilization of Persia under the names uh, Anaita and Inna, and later by the Sumerians and the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians as Ishtar. She was known as the Queen of Heaven and the patron goddess of of the Ana temple in the city of Uruk, which was her early main cult center. She was associated with the planet Venus, and her most prominent symbols include the lion and the eight-pointed star. Her husband was the god Dumuzid, later known as Tammuz, and her sukul, or personal assistant, was the god Nishubar, who later became conflated with the male deities Librat and Papsukal. All right. So now, once again, we're gonna go down to the juicy part, which is the worship. And we're gonna start in let's see. We're gonna start here in this paragraph here. It says, during later times, while her cult in Uruk continued to flourish, Ishtar also became particularly worshipped in the upper Mesopotamian kingdom of Assyria, especially in the cities of Nineveh, Ashur, and Arbela. During the reign of the Assyrian king Assurbanipal, Ishtar rose to become the most important and widely venerated deity in the Assyrian pantheon, surpassing even the Assyrian national god, Ashur. Slack, I have to sneeze. Says, votive objects found in her primary Assyrian temple indicate that she was a popular deity amongst women. Individuals who went against the traditional gender binary were heavily involved in the cult of Inna. During Sumerian times, a set of priests known as Gala worked in Inna's temples, where they performed elegies and lamentations. Men who became Gala sometimes adopted female names, and their songs were composed in the Sumerian Emel Sal dialect, which in literary text is normally reserved for speech of female characters. During some Sumerian some Sumerian proverbs seem to suggest that Gala had a reputation for engaging in anal sex with men. So like I have to I have to um blow my nose again. So like Salakia. It says some Sumerian proverbs seem to suggest that Gala had a reputation for engaging in anal sex with men. During the Akkadian period, Kurgaru and Asisnu were servants of Ishtar who dressed in female clothing and performed war dances in Ishtar's temples. Several Akkadian proverbs seem to suggest that they may also had homosexual proclivities. Gwendolyn Lake, an anthropologist known for her writings on Mesopotamia, has compared these individuals to the contemporary Indian Hijra. In one Akkadian hymn, Ishtar is described as transforming men into women. Throughout the latter half of the 20th century, it is widely believed that the cult of Inna involved in sacred marriage ritual in which the king would establish his legitimacy by taking the role of the Musid and engaging in ritual sexual intercourse with the high priestess of Inna, who took the role of the goddess. All right, and then it talks about pretty much like the challenge and why they don't believe that this may be the case. But the point that we were really looking at is here, where it says individuals who went against the traditional gender binary were heavily involved in the cult of Inna. All right. And then the first thing that came to my mind is this in New York. All right. This is commonplace in New York.
Don't buy solar panels. Seriously.
And there is a day dedicated to this here in New York City. All right. And this is a perfect example of the cult of women. And these are customs that are not, these are not new things. This is not a new thing. All right, this is not a new thing. This is why the Lord needs to destroy this place, man. This is why when you speak about Babylon the Great, you speak about it with such disdain because of things like this. Mary and Jolly. You see this? And this is regular stuff, man. This is business as usual here, man. And I just wanted to pull out this thing here. Like this is the madness that we have here in the United States here, man. Because they're following this cult. All right, they're following this cult. Let me see if I can get this to play.
Identifies as a woman, right? You know, cisgender woman, right? As you just explained. It maybe doesn't have the ability to define a woman. Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct. Is a biological female.
So what happens if we
this
have
is a grown man with a beard.
As a woman, right? You know, cisgender woman, right? As you just explained. It maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce. Maybe doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not myself.
You used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people who...
That describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Okay. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity.
And then you see things like this, and then it makes you understand the scriptures. You kind of appreciate the scriptures even more, man. Because then you read a scripture like this one in Ecclesiastes. There's Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. and there's no new thing under the sun. So you have this mustached man here, and in reality, he might think that he's actually making good points, and he might think that he's doing something new and that this is like a new turning point. But this is ancient customs. These are ancient customs that go back centuries. They go back centuries, man. They go back centuries, man. And in reality, it all goes back to the worship of the Queen of Heaven, Ina or Ishtar. So once again, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. It says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Verse 10, it says, is there anything whereof it might be said, see, this is new, it hath already, it hath been already of old time, which was before us. There's no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance that are to come with those that shall come after. Exactly. So there's no remembrance of the things of old. But in fact, these things are not new things. All right. So this is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. It says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Exactly, man. So these things, all right, all these things that are written in this book have been written for our learning. All right. And for us to and for it to bring us back to remembrance and to edify us. So when you ask yourself, oh, well, what are some of the customs that are, what are some of the customs? You out there speaking, you say, oh, Babylon the Great. You say, oh, yeah, Babylon the Great is America because they follow the customs of Babylon. Well, now you have two customs that you can name and you can confidently name. One of them being, all right, homosexuality and the symbolism of the bull, which could be found all over. The bull as a merchant, all right, which goes back to the Babylonian god Enlil. All right. So hey man, this was a quick lesson on customs of the Babylonians, all right, that the US takes on. And there's gonna be more videos as I do more research on this, all right, because there are many more customs that the US, all right, in terms of their legal system. The entire legal system is based on a lot of the legal system is based on the Code of Hammurabi, all right, who was a Mesopotamian or a Babylonian lawmaker and king, all right, and a lot of the laws that he has made, that he had written to consolidate power are used in politics today. So we'll continue to look at different things that continue to push forth and prove that America is indeed Babylon the Great. So I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai, the born say apostles, and elders of the great millstone who rule well, who continue to teach us this truth. All right, salutations to you, Akim, out there. And until next time, shalom.